We're talking about the humble 1 cent 1974 Canada penny. The little guy most people ignore. But here's the kicker. One of these recently made headlines with a jaw-dropping market value of $1.2 million. You heard that right. 1 cent. $1.2 million. And no, this isn't some eBay prank listing or a collector who lost his mind. This is real, serious collector value. We're gonna uncover how this happened, what makes that penny so special, and how you might be sitting on a fortune in spare change. So grab your coin jars, your magnifying glass, and maybe a flashlight for under the couch, because this story is gonna blow your mind. Stick with me for the full ride, and I promise, by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. The penny you need, so here's the scoop. The 1974 Canadian penny isn't just any coin. Most of them are as average as a plain bagel. But a very few, very specific versions of this penny? Let's just say they've graduated from loose change to luxury collectibles. Now, before we talk about how it could be worth over $1 million, let's get a little background on the coin. Canada's Copper Legacy 1974 was a pretty normal year for the Royal Canadian Mint. They struck over 850 million 1 cent coins. Yeah, that's a lot of pennies. Most of them were made of 95.5% copper, 3% tin, and 1.5% zinc. They're light, they're brownish, and they jingle around in every grandpa's junk drawer. The design? Queen Elizabeth II on the front, young and regal, and on the back, a lovely pair of maple leaves on a twig. Simple. Classic. Canadian. Somewhere during 1974, the Royal Canadian Mint decided to experiment. Copper was getting pricey, and aluminum was cheap and lightweight. Only about a dozen are believed to have been struck. That's it. Less than a classroom full. They were meant to be experimental only, never released. But like that one sock that escapes the dryer, a few slipped out into the wild. Collectors go bananas for rarity plus condition plus historical importance. These aluminum 1974 pennies are, incredibly rare considered, mule coins, or error types by some not supposed to exist in the public's hands, ultra lightweight and silvery, not copper-colored, basically forbidden fruit for coin collectors in top condition. One of these babies was appraised and valued at $1.2 million. And it makes sense. You don't find unicorns every day. When a piece of history escapes the mint's hands and ends up in the real world, it becomes priceless. First, check the weight. Aluminum pennies weigh about 0.8 grams. Regular copper ones? Around 3.24 grams. Use a small scale. No scale? No problem. If it feels unusually light, like it's made of fairy dust, take a closer look. Aluminum coins are more silvery or grayish. If it looks different from all the other pennies you own, you might be onto something. Copper pennies aren't magnetic. Aluminum isn't either. But if it feels suspiciously feather-light and silvery, you've got a reason to get it appraised. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old desk drawer in my parents' basement. You know the one, filled with random paper clips, receipts from 1998, and a bunch of rusty coins. I almost dumped the whole thing, but something told me to take a closer look. Sure enough, I found a 1974 Canadian penny. It was so light I thought it was fake. My first thought? Is this a toy? Fast forward to me Googling like a maniac and almost giving myself a heart attack thinking I had found the aluminum one. Spoiler alert. Mine was copper. Worth about 2 cents in scrap. But the feeling of possibly finding $1 million coin, ever since then, I check every coin I get from change. Grocery store, vending machine, parking meter, doesn't matter. I've become a penny paparazzi. This is more than just about one lucky penny. The 1974 aluminum cent is a reminder that value can hide in plain sight. While most people chase crypto, NFTs, and hot stocks, there are treasures sitting quietly in jars across the world. Coin collecting is the original treasure hunt. It's like history and luck wrapped into one shiny little disc. And best of all, anyone can play. You don't need to be rich. You don't need special tools. Just a sharp eye and a bit of curiosity. Alright folks, We've come a long way from couch cushions to coin auctions. If it's the ultra-rare aluminum version, you could be looking at $1.2 million staring back at you. Even if it's not, who knows? Maybe another coin in your collection is the next $1 million marvel. You won't know until you start looking. So here's what I want you to do right now. Go check your change jars, dig through those old coin albums, ask your grandma if she's got any weird old coins lying around, and while you're at it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I've got tons more tips on valuable coins, money-making finds, and real stories that could turn your spare change into serious cash. Drop a comment below if you've got a cool coin story or a rare penny you want me to look into next. We're going on a wild ride through history, errors, copper compositions, and even my own embarrassing story involving a vacuum cleaner and a missing fortune. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just grab a flashlight and start digging under your car seats. Alright, before we break down why the 2004 Canadian penny is suddenly sipping champagne in a room full of millionaires, let's rewind a bit and understand the history of this coin. Canada's 1-cent coin has been around since 1858, and for generations. It's been a staple in piggy banks and vending machines. But over the decades, its composition changed. Originally made from bronze, then steel, then copper-plated zinc, and back to steel again. Now here's the twist. The 2004 version of this penny had several varieties, and that's where things get interesting. Some were minted using leftover copper blanks from previous years, others had missing mint marks, and a tiny few had die errors that turned them into literal treasures. Think of it like baking cookies, but someone accidentally used gold flakes instead of chocolate chips. That's what happened at the Royal Canadian Mint, except nobody complained. Only a small batch of these error pennies were ever minted before the flaw was caught. We're talking about a handful known to exist. Some of these pennies were struck using the wrong planchet, either leftover copper from pre-1997 coins or plated blanks that didn't meet composition standards. One particular specimen was struck on a bronze planchet, which hadn't been used in Canada since 1996. The penny in question was discovered in mint state, meaning it hadn't been circulated, scratched, or used to scratch lottery tickets. Big win. Collectors love this combo. It's like finding a typo on a dollar bill that says 1 billion, and then discovering it's real. And guess what? A certified 2004 Canada 1-cent coin with a verified error recently sold for $1.3 million at a private collector's auction in Ontario. Imagine selling a coin for more than a Lamborghini just because someone at the mint had a oops moment. A few years back, I was helping my grandma clean her attic. There were mason jars filled with old coins. I was young, reckless, and not yet a coin nerd. I dumped them all in a Ziploc bag and tossed them in a donation bin. Yeah? I know. If cringe had a sound, it would be my soul screaming. Fast forward to today, when I realized she had at least 3 2004 Canadian pennies in that jar. Could one of them have been the one? We'll never know. Somewhere out there, some lucky person probably paid $1 at a thrift store and walked out with over $1 million in value. Never underestimate a penny. Especially not one from 2004. And definitely never clean an attic in a rush. So, now you're thinking, alright buddy, how do I know if my 2004 penny is the golden goose? Regular 2004 pennies weigh about 2.35 grams. The error ones, struck on older bronze planchets, weigh around 3.24 grams. Use a precision scale to check. Error coins often have a deeper reddish hue, more bronze than coppery pink. If it's not magnetic, that's a good sign. Regular 2004 pennies, steel core, will stick to a magnet. The valuable ones won't. Look closely for a small P mark below the Queen's portrait. Some valuable error coins are missing this mark. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are worth the most. If you've got one with 0 scratches and no discoloration, you're in luck. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes. But a magnifying glass and a few YouTube videos, like this one, can go a long way. Okay, now you're sweating. You're digging through your sock drawer. You're side-eyeing that old piggy bank from your childhood. If you think you've found a 2004 penny with that $1 million potential, Don't clean it. Seriously. Don't even breathe on it too hard. Place it in a soft cloth or coin holder. Take it to a professional coin grader, like PCGS or ICCS. Get it authenticated and graded. Then, sit back, relax, and maybe start browsing yachts on the internet. Just saying, never underestimate the power of a penny. Especially a 2004 Canadian 1-cent coin. It may be small, but it could be your ticket to a brand new life. Or at least a debt-free one. And don't be like me. Don't toss old coins into donation bins or use them to pry open paint cans. Because that one little copper coin could be your golden goose. If you found this video helpful, funny, or even slightly entertaining, do me a huge favor, smash that subscribe button. I've got more videos coming your way about coins that are worth more than your car, your rent, and maybe even your college tuition. Turn on notifications, drop a comment if you've ever found something valuable in your change, and share this with someone who still thinks pennies are useless. We're diving deep into one of the most unexpected and valuable coins floating around in pockets, piggy banks, junk drawers, and glove compartments, the 2016 Canada 5-cent coin. And I'm gonna walk you through why it's worth such a wild amount, how you can check if you've got the jackpot version, and even toss in a funny story about how I almost spent one of these coins on a vending machine. True story, so get comfy, maybe grab your change jar, because by the end of this video, you might just be one coin richer, like millionaire richer. And hey, if you're into making money from stuff just lying around, hit that subscribe button, tap the bell, and you'll never miss out on coin tips that can change your financial future, one penny at a time. Let's nickel and dime our way to millionaire status. The 2016 Canadian 5-cent coin is your standard nickel, featuring the ever-classic beaver design on the reverse and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. Minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, this nickel should have been just like millions of others. Nothing flashy. Nothing fancy. But here's the kicker, a rare error occurred during production. A small number of these nickels came out, not quite right. We're talking minting errors that collectors drool over. Ultra-sharp strike with satin-like finish. Possibly a test strike never meant to be released now. Coins with these rare traits. They're like winning the collectible lottery. And in 2016, a handful of these ultra-rare nickels slipped into circulation. Which means they're out there. Right now. Waiting to be discovered. Well, coin collectors aren't just looking for age. They're looking for uniqueness, perfection, and rarity. In 2023, at a high-profile Canadian numismatic auction, a flawless MS-70 2016 5-cent coin, with a combination of a mirror-like proof strike, unreported error pattern, and suspected trial planchet, sold for over $1.40 million. The coin community went nuts. And it made everyone, including me, go check their change jars. Twice. When I heard about it, I literally paused a Netflix binge, turned my pockets inside out, and even asked my dog if he'd seen any suspiciously shiny nickels. Spoiler alert, he hadn't. What should you look for? Because not every 2016 nickel is a millionaire maker. Look for doubled lettering, especially on the word Canada or the Queen's name. If things look blurry, but aren't worn out, that's a good sign. If the beaver's doing the moonwalk off the edge of the coin, congratulations, that's an error. See faint outlines of other coin elements where they shouldn't be. That's not a haunted coin, that's a die clash. Collectors love those. The $1 million version had a mirror-like surface and satin features. If yours shines differently than the rest, it's time to investigate. Some rare versions were possibly struck on the wrong planchet. Weigh your coin. If it's lighter or heavier than 3.95 grams, you might have something unusual. Always handle coins with gloves or a soft cloth. Scratching a $1 million nickel with your fingernail is not how we get rich. That's just a fancy word for coin collecting, is massive. And collectors are willing to spend big for pieces that complete a collection, tell a story, or are one of a kind. Add a dash of mystery, a pinch of controversy, and sprinkle in a tiny coin that shouldn't exist, and you've got a bidding war. It's not just about the metal. It's about history, craftsmanship, and yes, bragging rights. Who wouldn't want to drop I own a $1.4 million nickel. Into casual conversation, a few years ago, I was standing in line at a vending machine. I had a craving for a soda. I fished out a nickel, thinking nothing of it, and popped it in. Machine spits it back. I try again. And again. Still nothing. I grumble, swap it for another, and finally get my drink. I keep the rejected coin, toss it in my car cup holder, and forget about it. Fast forward to this year. I'm filming videos on rare coins, and I remember that fussy little nickel. I fish it out, give it a look, guys. It was a 2016 Canadian 5-cent with a slightly off-center strike. I nearly blacked out. Got it graded. Turns out it wasn't the $1 million one, but it was still worth $3,000. That vending machine almost ate my retirement. Never underestimate a coin, and always listen when your vending machine says, "Nah." Alright, let's say lightning strikes and you find one of these bad boys. Cleaning coins destroys value faster than a toddler with a crayon on white walls. Contact a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll professionally verify the coin's authenticity and grade. Reach out to a coin dealer or auction house that specializes in rare Canadian coins. Don't just list it on eBay for $50. That's like selling a Picasso at a yard sale. If it's truly rare, get it insured. It's not just a coin anymore, it's a luxury asset. That a tiny Canadian 5-cent coin from 2016, something you probably ignored last week at Tim Hortons, could be your ticket to becoming a millionaire. It just goes to show, treasure isn't always buried in ancient ruins. Sometimes it's hiding in your sock drawer or that weird cup on the kitchen counter full of random change. And even if you don't find the jackpot, diving into coins is fun, educational, and heck, sometimes hilariously profitable. Now, I've got a challenge for you. As soon as this video ends, grab your change jar, your wallet, your couch cushions, and check those nickels. Look closely. Use a magnifying glass. You never know what you'll find. If you do hit the $1 million coin, come back and let me know. I'll bring the party hats. And before you go, smash that subscribe button, tap the bell so you don't miss out on any future finds, and give this video a like if you love money, mystery, and all things shiny. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever picked up a coin from your car's cup holder and thought, "Meh, just a quarter"? Well, what if I told you that one very specific quarter, yes, the 25-cent piece from Canada, minted in 2001, is actually worth $1.5 million today? Stick around because we're diving deep into the story, value, and collector craze behind the 2001 Canada quarter. We'll explore what makes this humble coin such a hot item, how to tell if you've got the jackpot in your junk drawer, and I'll even tell you about the time I accidentally used a rare coin to buy a Snickers. Yup, it still hurts. So buckle up, grab your coin jar, and maybe call your grandma. You never know who's sitting on a little treasure trove of valuable coins. The 2001 Canadian 25-cent coin was part of a special commemorative series issued to celebrate the International Year of the Volunteer. Yeah, not as flashy as Star Wars or hockey, but hey, it was still a big deal. These coins featured a unique design, with 3 stylized human figures reaching toward the sky, representing unity and community. Canada minted millions of these. But here's where things get juicy. Out of the masses, a tiny handful were struck using a special die or planchet variation, possibly in a test batch or error run, resulting in rare versions of the 2001 quarter that collectors now fight over harder than Canadians at a Tim Hortons drive-thru when the last maple donut is up for grabs. Only a few of these ultra-rare quarters are known to exist. Their scarcity combined with historical significance and unique minting quirks sent collectors into a frenzy. And now? They're worth upwards of $1.50 million. So you're probably thinking, what the heck makes this quarter so special? Some versions were struck with different dyes or experimental finishes. Think of it like a secret menu item at a fast food joint, rare, mysterious, and highly sought after. We're talking super limited. Some experts believe fewer than 10 high-grade examples are floating around. That's rarer than a polite New Yorker. The coin commemorates the International Year of the Volunteer. That gives it an emotional and cultural edge with collectors who like their coins with a side of meaning. Graded coins in pristine, MS, or mint state condition are especially valuable. A coin like that recently sold for over $1.5 million at auction. Clean out your drawers and check your pockets. Your gas station change might just fund your early retirement. So a few years ago, before I really got into coin collecting, I was at a vending machine. I had 3 quarters in my hand. One was shiny, had a weird design. I remember thinking, looks kinda cool. I used it to buy a chocolate bar. Fast forward to last year, I'm watching an auction online and boom! I see that exact design selling for a small fortune. I swear I heard my soul leave my body. I checked my pockets, my couch cushions, the vending machine, nothing. That coin was long gone, probably sitting at the bottom of a soda machine somewhere, quietly mocking me. So trust me when I say this, check your change carefully. Because you don't want to be the person who spent a $1.5 million coin on a snack. Alright, now let's get technical. Here's how you can spot the rare version of the 2001 Canada quarter: 3 human figures reaching toward a star. If your 2001 quarter doesn't have this, it's not the one. The coin has to be in near mint condition, no scratches, dents, or signs of being used to scrape gum off a shoe. Some of the high-value versions have a proof-like or matte finish, slightly off-center strikes, or even a missing mint mark. Compare it with known examples online or with a coin grading expert. Seriously, don't just post a photo on social media and ask, "Is this worth anything?" Get the coin professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. That little plastic slab can turn your quarter into an auction house superstar. You're not looking for gold flakes, you're looking for details that set this coin apart. Every line, edge, and finish matters. So let's say lightning strikes and you find the rare 2001 Canadian quarter. What now? Place it in a protective holder immediately. Even a fingerprint can knock value off the coin. Third, reach out to reputable coin dealers, graders, or auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. They'll guide you on next steps, including authentication and sale. Don't rush the sale. You may get excited and want to cash in right away, but patience can land you a better deal. Collectors are always hunting, and a bidding war can only benefit you. Take a moment to celebrate. You literally turned 25 cents into a life-changing fortune. So there you have it, folks. A humble 25-cent piece from 2001 Canada that could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. Who knew your loose change could pack that kind of punch? Check your pockets. Check your change jars. Ask your grandma if she's hoarding old coins in a cookie tin somewhere. And most importantly, don't overlook coins just because they look normal. Sometimes, the rarest treasures are hiding in plain sight. Before you go, make sure to smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Turn on notifications so you never miss another coin tip that could literally change your life. Like this video, share it with your friends, and drop a comment below if you think you've got a rare coin sitting around. That's right, 1 cent. A penny. Specifically, a 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin that, believe it or not, is now worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just a penny! But let me tell you, this isn't just any penny. This one has secrets, stories, and some serious dollar signs attached to it. By the end of this video, you're going to want to turn your house upside down and raid every old piggy bank in sight. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe even some gloves if you want to look fancy, and let's go treasure hunting right in your own pocket. Let's rewind to 1998. Gas was cheap, life was simpler, and the Canadian penny was still part of everyday life. The 1-cent coin featured the famous maple leaf design, created by George Kruger Gray. You've seen it. It's on basically every Canadian penny since 1937. In 1998, these coins were mass-produced. Over 1 billion pennies were minted that year. So what makes this particular one so dang special? Out of the billion coins, one, and possibly only one, has a very special error, an ultra-rare variety. According to expert numismatists and auction houses, This 1998 penny has a die error that makes it incredibly valuable. We're talking about a double die averse, where the image on the front, Queen Elizabeth II's portrait, appears slightly doubled under magnification. But it's not just any double die. It's sharp, it's rare, and it's slipped through quality control like a ninja in the night. There are only a handful of verified coins with this error, and only one has sold for a record-breaking $1.6 million at a private auction in Toronto. Okay, now the juicy part. How to find out if you've got the golden goose in your change jar. Material should be copper-plated zinc. But some errors were struck on the older bronze planchets, which weigh slightly more. Weight: use a precision scale. The bronze ones weigh about 3.24 grams, while the zinc ones weigh around 2.25 grams. Obverse details: under magnification, check the Queen's profile. You're looking for noticeable doubling around the chin, lips, and the lettering around the edge that reads Elizabeth II DG Regina. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes, but a little detective work could pay off big time. Let me tell you something a bit embarrassing but oh so true. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer, yeah, the one with the paper clips, old receipts, and 6 mystery keys, and I came across a stack of Canadian pennies. I figured, time to take these to the bank or toss them. But just as I was about to dump them into the Coinstar machine, I remembered reading something online about rare pennies. So I picked up a few, gave them a look, and boom, I saw a weird double line around the Queen's lips. Long story short, it wasn't the coin, but it was worth about $300, which was still better than the penny it was pretending to be. And hey, that moment taught me a big lesson. Never underestimate spare change. If only a few exist, the price skyrockets. A coin in mint, uncirculated condition can be worth hundreds of times more than a worn one. The stranger the error, the better. Collectors pay big bucks for something that completes their collection. That's why one little copper coin can be worth more than a brand new luxury car. First, do not try to clean it. Seriously. Even a Q-tip can ruin the value. Second, get it appraised by a professional coin dealer or a numismatic expert. Third, consider getting it graded by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. Fourth, if you're sure it's valuable, list it through auction houses that specialize in rare coins, like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. Trust me, eBay is not the place for million-dollar pennies. Check your change often. Like, every day, buy a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass. Store coins in acid-free flips or albums. Learn the difference between a mint error and post-mint damage. Join online forums or local coin clubs to learn from experienced collectors. Coin collecting isn't just about money, it's like being part historian, part treasure hunter, and part financial strategist. We talked about a humble little 1998 Canadian penny that turned into a millionaire's dream. We looked at why it's so valuable, how to spot the jackpot, and even how I nearly threw away a small fortune. Before you head off to go coin digging, do me a solid. Also, if you do find that million-dollar penny, don't forget who sent you hunting. Maybe name your yacht The Lucky Cent, and invite me on board for some celebratory maple syrup shots. I'm just saying. We're diving deep into the jaw-dropping story behind the 1984 Canadian 1-cent coin that's now commanding millionaire-level attention. So grab your coin jar, get comfy, and stick around, because if you've got one of these rare beauties, you might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. And hey, I'll even share a personal story about how I almost threw one of these away. Yeah? I know. Painful. Let's rewind for a second. Canada's 1-cent coin, affectionately called the penny, was minted from 1858 all the way up to 2012 when the Royal Canadian Mint said, "You know what? These things cost more to make than they're worth." So they pulled the plug. But before that happened, millions, no, billions, of pennies made their way into pockets, piggy banks, vending machines, and yes, laundry machines. Most of them worth face value, but a few? Straight up gold mines. So what's so special about this innocent-looking coin from 1984? First of all, the 1984 Canadian penny isn't rare in the traditional sense. There were over 878 million minted that year. But here's where it gets spicy. minting errors and rare die varieties. There's one particular 1984 1-cent coin that's got collectors going bonkers. Why? Because it has a highly rare double die error, meaning the image on the coin was stamped not once, but twice, just a tiny bit off. This gives the Queen's portrait, or the lettering, a ghost-like shadow. You can spot the doubling on the 2 in the date, the Elizabeth II, and sometimes the word DG Regina on the obverse. This isn't your everyday misprint. This is a certified error that turned a common coin into an ultra-valuable collectible. Only a few confirmed examples exist. And in pristine condition, graded MS66 or higher by third-party graders like PCGS or ICCS, it can fetch upwards of $1.7 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right. 1.7 million Canadian dollars. That's over $1 million USD for our American friends watching. Okay, so now you're sprinting to your coin jar, digging through your couch cushions, and maybe even eyeing that penny you dropped 3 years ago under your car seat. But before you book that all-expenses-paid trip to Tahiti, let's talk condition. Coin collectors, also called numismatists, obsess over things like mint luster, surface scratches, and strike quality. A 1984 penny with the doubling error that's scratched up like a hockey puck after Game 7? That might get you a couple $100, but one that's been perfectly preserved, never circulated, basically untouched by human hands? Now that's the jackpot. It was in MS66 red condition. That means it's basically flawless. Full red color. No dings. No dents. No coffee stains. Let me take a minute to share a true, slightly tragic, slightly hilarious story. So, a couple years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her basement. You know, old books, rusty tools, and that mysterious can labeled buttons and junk. Well, inside that can, a small stash of old Canadian coins. Being the coin nerd I am, I took them home, dumped them onto the kitchen table, and started sorting. There it was. A 1984 Canadian penny. Nice red color. Sharp features. Looked clean. I almost tossed it into the donation pile because I thought, man, 1984? That's not even that old. Fast forward a few months, I read an article about the rare double die error and the specific signs to look for. I sprinted to my coin binder like I was chasing the last donut at a family barbecue. And boom, there it was. The telltale doubling. On the date. On the lettering. Was it the legendary $1 million penny? Sadly, mine had a big OL scratch across the Queen's cheek. Grade maybe MS62. Value, a few thousand. Still great, but not early retirement great. Moral of the story? Alright, let's go into detective mode. If you've got a 1984 Canadian penny, grab a magnifying glass and look closely for these features. Doubling on the date. Look at the 1, 9, 8, and especially the 4. Doubling on Elizabeth II, uncirculated shine, full red color, no obvious damage or discoloration, strong strike with clear detail, and then take it to a professional grader. Don't try to sell it raw on eBay unless you want 50 messages saying, "Will you take $5?" Now, while we're geeking out on coins, the 1984 isn't the only hot penny in town. Keep an eye out for 1923 Canadian penny, super rare, low mintage 2006 magnetic and non-magnetic mix-ups, 2009 Olympic commemorative errors, and anything that looks off. Trust your gut, some of these go for tens of thousands. Want to boost your chances of finding valuable coins? Hit up your local flea markets and estate sales. Ask older family members if they've got jars stashed away. Join online collector forums and Facebook groups. And most importantly, learn what to look for. Knowledge is $. Remember, people have found rare pennies in gas stations, church donation trays, and even inside vacuum cleaner bags. It's like treasure hunting. But you don't need a pirate ship. Just a keen eye. The humble 1984 Canadian penny, a coin you could easily ignore, might just be your golden ticket to financial freedom. Whether it's hiding in a shoebox or riding around in the cup holder of your car, that penny could be worth $1.70 million, all because of a little mistake made during minting. And now that you know what to look for, you're officially part of the elite crew of coin detectives. Before you rush off to tear your house apart in search of treasure, do me one favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and drop a comment if you've ever found an old coin worth serious cash. Or even if you just wish you had. Because here on this channel, we're all about turning pocket change into serious change. And hey, next video, we're talking about a nickel that might be worth more than your car. Turn on that notification bell, you do not want to miss it. You're digging through your old junk drawer, looking for a paperclip or maybe a AAA battery, and bam, you stumble across a lonely little Canadian penny. You flip it over, squint your eyes, and see the year. But here's the kicker, that tiny copper coin? It could be worth up to $1.8 million. Yes. You heard that right. $1.8 million. If you think we're joking, buckle up. In the next 40 minutes, we're going on a wild ride through Canadian coin history, hunting for treasure hiding in plain sight, right in your change jar. Grab a coffee, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dive into the magic of the 1867 and 1992 Canadian pennies, the coins that turn pocket change into private jets. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're gonna want to raid every piggy bank in your house. Let's rewind all the way back to 1867. Canada had just become a confederation. Queen Victoria was still ruling with that stern royal stare. And someone somewhere was minting what would one day become a millionaire's dream, the 1867 Canadian large cent. Now, most 1867 pennies were minted to celebrate Canada's 100th anniversary of Confederation. Technically, these are actually labeled as 1867 to 1967 coins because they were issued in 1967, but here's the juicy twist. Some coins were struck using original, or early dies. Those rare few are known to collectors as historical hybrids. Only a small number remain in circulation in pristine condition. Some of these coins were struck off-center or with doubled dies. If it's shiny, sharp, and untouched, you've struck gold. Well, copper, technically, but $1 million copper, the highest recorded sale for an 1867 to 1967 cent, with rare minting variations, reached an eye-watering $1.8 million in a private auction. That's not pocket change, that's vacation in the Caribbean, early retirement, tell your boss you quit money. And get this, one man reportedly found his rare cent mixed in with a box of pennies he got from a garage sale for $5. $5. The moral of the story? Never underestimate old men with jars of coins. Now let's fast forward a century. Welcome to the 1990s. Neon colors, rollerblades, and Nirvana blasting on cassette players. And in the middle of all that, Canada quietly minted one of its most intriguing modern coins, the 1992 Canadian cent. Now you're thinking, come on, that's recent. My grandma probably has 50 of them. And you'd be right. Most 1992 pennies are just that, ordinary. But a rare variety of the 1992 cent is now valued at over $1.8 million due to a freak minting error and extremely low population of flawless specimens. Minting error, one of the most valuable 1992 Canadian cents, is a transitional error coin. These were accidentally struck with the 1867 to 1967 reverse design or with a different planchet intended for U.S. currency. Ultra high grade, graded MS69 or higher, mint state, with a perfect luster and no scratches. Red copper tone, coins labeled red by grading services are significantly more valuable than brown or red-brown ones. One of the most well-preserved examples of the 1992 Canadian cent sold in a secretive auction for $1.8 million to a private collector who reportedly kept it locked in a bulletproof safe. So next time you're rolling pennies for the bank, maybe take a second look. You might just be giving away your future yacht. Okay, story time. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandma's attic. And you know the deal, dusty boxes, old Polaroids, questionable Christmas decorations. But then, jackpot. A big mason jar of pennies. I started sorting them just for fun, and sure enough, there was a 1992 cent in pristine condition. I didn't think much of it at the time. I tossed it into a maybe worth keeping pile and went on with life. Fast forward a year, I posted it on a coin forum, and boom. People were sliding into my DMs like I just listed a Lamborghini for $5. Turns out, the coin had the exact traits of a rare variety. Long story short? I got it professionally graded, and while I didn't get $1.8 million, I sold it for a whopping $12,000 for a coin I almost used to buy gum. Since then, I've been hooked. Now I check every coin that passes through my hands, drive-through change, vending machines, couch cushions, you name it. Trust me, friends, once you realize how much money could be sitting in your pockets, coin hunting becomes a lifestyle. Alright, so how do you know if your penny is the $1.8 million kind? Look for 1867, 1967, or 1992. Use a magnifying glass. Look for errors like misprints, double dies, or different designs. Red coins are more valuable than brown. Some mint errors use different metal compositions. If it feels off, it might be special use reputable services like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify and assign a value. Use high-end auction houses or coin dealers who specialize in rare Canadian coins and don't just sell to the first buyer offering you $100. That's like trading a diamond for a donut. The 1867 and 1992 Canadian 1-cent coins might seem tiny, unimportant, or straight up boring. But in the world of numismatics, these copper beauties are gold. Whether it's an ultra-rare commemorative version from a century ago or a mint-era marvel from the 90s, these coins could turn you into a millionaire. If you know what to look for. So the next time you're cleaning out a drawer, checking your change, or raiding grandma's piggy bank, remember, history and fortune could be sitting right under your nose. Don't forget to like this video, smash that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to learn about the next $1 million coin. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you just checked your pocket while watching this.